Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. This is a Smart Passive Income podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 23. Let's go!
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now, your host. He's the worst chess player ever, Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Do you know the secret to businesses that are scaling faster than ever? They're using Upwork to tap into a diverse pool of skilled freelancers across various industries. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level. I've personally used Upwork myself and can vouch for it. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help you grow your business. That's Upwork.com. Again, Upwork.com. Hey, everybody, what's up? And welcome to the 23rd session of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. I hope you are doing well today. I'm doing okay. I have a quick announcement that you might be interested in. If you have an iPhone, maybe some of you are listening to me right now on your iPhone, you can now read and listen to the Smart Passive Income blog and podcast directly and conveniently from your iPhone with the Smart Passive Income blog iPhone application. That's right. It's free. It's very high quality. You can read the blog on it, see what I'm up to on Twitter, and you can even reply or retweet me right from inside the application itself. You can listen to the podcast, and even in the background, you can listen to the podcast so you can be playing Angry Birds at the same time if that's what you're into. And there's even a special page inside the application just for you folks who are on the iPhone, so please check that out. Again, it's totally free, and you can go directly to that by going to smartpassiveincome.com/app, A-P-P. Again, smartpassiveincome.com/app. And so far, the response has been out of this world. It climbed to number 51 in the business section of the App Store the other day. Today, it's the number one featured new and noteworthy iPhone application, and it already has 18 5-star ratings. So, if you were one of those people who left a rating or review, thank you so much. And there is actually, I don't have an official Android version yet for those of you who are on the Android operating system, but one of my fans actually created an unofficial Android Smart Passive Income blog application. So if you are in the Android market and just look up Smart Passive Income, you'll see that there, and you can download it and listen to the content the same way. So it's pretty awesome. So moving on, today we're bringing back a special guest again, someone who I highly respect and admire, not only because he's very successful online, but he's down to earth, and his approach to online business and blogging is very, very similar to my own. You may remember him from session number 8, which was one of the most listened to podcast sessions I've ever had so far, and definitely the most commented on podcast session on the blog, because it was probably a topic that we're all very interested and concerned about, which is traffic generation. So today I'm very, very happy to have back with us Corbett Barr from ThinkTraff.net, who has been doing some amazing, amazing things lately. His blog is blowing up. I just want to bring Corbett back on the show to continue the wonderful conversation on traffic generation we had going in session number 8. We'll be talking about some techniques that aren't really touched on much by many other bloggers, so pay close attention and take notes if you want to. And he'll also be telling us a little bit about his traffic school project at the end of the episode, so look out for that. And let's just welcome back Corbett. So Corbett, dude, welcome back, buddy. We're very happy to have you back.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. And I was just trying to think, when was that? When did we do the last one? It's actually been quite a while.
It has been a long time. And, I only have, 22 other episodes right now. So it might seem kind of crazy that I'm bringing someone else back already with so little number of episodes. But, there was actually such a high demand to have you back. So I'm very happy to have you here, and you are taking off like crazy since last time we spoke here on the podcast. I mean, your site has grown so much. You are getting such an engaging and community on ThinkTraff.net, and you also have your site at CorbettBarr.com too, which had been redesigned or switched over from another site. Was that Free Pursuits? I think it was
exactly.
Before.
Yep.
So now you have ThinkTraff.net, which is blowing up. You have Corbett Barr, which is more of a personal development type site, which is taking off as well. You have your affiliate marketer for beginners course, which a lot of my readers went to and have thanked me for referring that to them, because it's had such a good response. So I want to thank you for that. And also you had Traffic School the first time around that a lot of the readers went to, who are seeing amazing results from that as well. And you have something called the Hustle Project, which you've been working on with Adam Baker to really get people to take action and hold them accountable. So, first of all, just amazing work. It's actually really inspiring to see how much you're doing because, I'm sitting here at home and I have a lot of time. I try to spend as much time with my family as possible, but I still feel strapped for time sometimes, especially when I have all these wonderful and crazy and amazing ideas I want to pursue in my head. How do you get everything done?
I don't know. I wrote a post about that recently, actually, that I used to ask almost every entrepreneur that I knew who was really successful how they found the time. And eventually I stopped asking because I realized the answer was always the same. It's like, if you want something enough, you'll find the time to make that thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess in my life right now, those things are just high priority. I have the opportunity and it's sort of the time to make all of that happen because the demand is there and, you want to take advantage of that demand while it's there. And also I'm just having so much fun with it. So.
Yeah, those are definitely key points. Prioritizing and having fun with it. Really, that's what's been the most helpful for me. Even when I think back to sites that I created in the past, it's those sites that I've had the most fun with. GreenExamAcademy.com, SmartPassiveIncome.com, that have really taken off. And I have tried to start sites before based on things that I didn't really have much interest in, and they just died. So prioritizing and having fun with what you're doing is really, really important. But today, we're going to talk about some awesome things that are going to help a lot of the listeners out there. The last time you were on, we talked basically pretty much just about traffic, but that's really just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to really, really crushing it online and seeing results, because you can get traffic to your site, but unless the stuff on your site does what it's supposed to do, it's not going to really matter how much traffic you have. You can have 1 billion people come to your site, but if your site doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and those the two key things we're going to talk about that happen on your site, which are engagement and conversion, if those things don't happen, you're not going to see any results. But on the flip side, if you have the best converting website in the world, the conversion rate of zero traffic is zero. So
Right.
It's a fine balance. So we're going to hit all three things today. Actually, we're going to cover traffic, getting new visitors in the door, getting them to come to your website, and the different tactics to use. We'll get into some beginner stuff and also advanced stuff that Corbett's been doing lately. That's really exciting that we're excited to share with you. After traffic, we want to talk about engagement, which is actually creating those deep relationships and creating trust with your visitors, becoming an authority, having them trust you with your recommendations, with the products that you have to offer them. That's super important as well, because that is what it takes in order to get conversions, to get those people to take action, getting those people to turn into sales, while maintaining that trust and engagement. So we're going to hit all three of those things. So let's just start back at really what you talked about here on the first time, and that's traffic. That's something that you're obviously an expert in at thinktraffic.net. Your site is, how old is your site now?
It's about 15 months old.
15 months old. How many subscribers do you have?
I have, let's see, I have about 25,000 monthly unique visitors and about 6,600 subscribers.
That's so, that for 15 months, I think when my site was at 15 months, I wasn't even close to that. Things have obviously picked up since then, but to see that much traction this early in the stages of your site is very encouraging. So you obviously know what you're talking about. So let's talk about the fundamentals really quick. So when people want to get more traffic, what is it really that they need to do, would you say? I know that's a loaded question, but
it is a loaded question. But I really, really like to focus on a fundamentals-based approach, because when people think about traffic, they usually jump straight to the tactics, like, how do I get good at SEO, or how do I dominate social media, or something like that. And tactics are sexy and tactics are fun, but the fact is there has to be something behind that in order for those tactics to work. And I think too many people skip over the fundamentals. So for me, the foundation of building traffic really gets down to, first of all, what are you doing that is different from other people out there? And why should people visit your website versus every other millions of websites out there? You really have to answer that question and be able to answer it in a way that isn't just, oh, well, my site is better.
Yeah.
You have to answer the question in a really unique way. Like, for example, smart passive income, the thing that you do, I'd say the differentiating factor for you, Pat, is first of all, you're just one hell of a nice, approachable guy, but also you're so transparent about everything you do. And the industry that you're in is full of all these people who have these sort of half believable stories about what they're doing, and they like to hide what they're doing, and they don't like to reveal it. And that transparency aspect for you has been your differentiator, and I know that contributes a lot to your success.
Oh,
So that's one piece of the foundation.
absolutely. I've said this time and time again. That was a move on my part that was done on purpose. It wasn't an accident that I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna accidentally reveal everything and hold nothing back. I knew that this was going to be huge because no one else was doing it. So I filled that gap, really, toward the walls down that many internet marketers and people who talk about making money online put up. So, I mean, especially when you talk about my income reports, no one was doing that before, and I think maybe one or two people were, but they weren't nearly as detailed as I was with it, and that was a purposeful tactic that I put up there, and it's great because it serves a number of different purposes. It helps me stay accountable for keeping those numbers up there. It helps teach people exactly what's going on. But the biggest thing, like you said, is it just differentiates myself from everyone else in the field. And Corbett, you were talking about being different, but what kinds of other things could people do to really catch people's attention?
Okay, so the next piece in sort of this I have this 3-pillar framework that I teach. I call it the thriving audience framework.
Okay.
And the thing that people think about when they talk about traffic usually is the third pillar in that, which is promotion, which is getting the word out, right? But before you do that, you need a solid foundation, which, as we talked about, is branding and differentiation, and also your design ties into that foundational pillar.
Oh,
as
absolutely.
well. Right. And you've talked about this a lot. You've spent a lot of time optimizing your design and making sure that it appeals to people, right? Because, when someone comes to your site, you have just a brief, like a split second maybe, to capture their attention, and they can make a decision whether or not they're going to stick around just by looking at your design, even before they read your content. And so your design needs to hook them enough so that they'll start reading your content, and your content needs to be really great to sort of build on that relationship that you're creating.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You have to come into it. You have to kind of step back from your own site and come into it as if you were a totally brand new visitor. Because I know it's hard when we get so involved in our own projects. It's kind of the, Chip and Dan Heath call it the curse of knowledge. You don't really understand what a total beginner or someone brand new to your site actually is seeing. So stepping back, coming back into your site in the shoes of someone who's brand new, and trying to understand really what is it that your site is conveying the moment they get there. I think the average time that a person spends on a website is only 6 to 7 seconds. So you have that much time to really tell them based on your design, like we were saying, or based on the title of your page or the tagline, and even your domain name. That has a lot to do with it too, but to a point.
Yeah, I consider the domain name really to be part of your branding, and I encourage people with when it comes to differentiation to make sure that you're actually deliberate about it, and make sure that people are aware. Say it in plain words why you're different. I like to constantly remind people. For instance, at ThinkTraff, my differentiator is that I really focus on a fundamentals and a content-based approach to driving traffic, which I think is more sustainable in the long term versus becoming just an expert at SEO or just an expert in social media. And so I like to remind people on a regular basis when they come to my site why it's different. I tell them, within the about page. I repeat it within posts. And you have to remember that you have new visitors coming to your site and you have existing visitors, and you constantly have to tell the new visitors why you're different. And I know you do this, Pat, with your monthly income reports. At the beginning of them, you always say, if you're new to this site, here's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I do that for that reason, to drive it in their heads about why I'm different, but also because my monthly income reports are one of the most highly trafficked pages, and I get a lot of new visitors who visit those pages too. So it kind of serves double purpose. But I want to point out 3 letters that I know what we're talking about right here. 3 letters. USP. That's exactly what you're talking about, the unique selling proposition of your site. If you don't understand that, if you ask yourself this question, why is your site unique? Like, really, why is your site unique? Why does it stand out from the crowd? And you can't answer that in 5 seconds. There's an issue going on there. You need to figure that out.
Yep, absolutely. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. They just, they think, you mentioned earlier that competition isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I completely agree. I think if you're planning to go into something and you don't see any competition, that should be more of a red flag, because then you have to wonder, like, is there really a market here, or am I trying to create something that's so different that nobody will actually have a need for it?
Right.
But if there's a lot of competition in your area, I think a lot of people just jump in and think, hey, if I just put my fishing pole in the water, I'm going to catch something. But your bait has to look different from all of the other bait that's in the water already.
Right. Okay. So we talked about my bait. And for the people who aren't familiar with ThinkTraff, what's your bait?
So my bait, again, is a very fundamental and content-based approach. So instead of just focusing on the traffic piece, on the search engine optimization, on the becoming good at Twitter, I think there are a lot of social media experts out there who say you just need to become an expert on Twitter, and then boom, overnight you're going to have massive success. And if you've been online for any period of time, or you've tried that, it's just not true. So what I like to teach is an epic content approach. And if you go to my site, you'll see there are a number of articles written about epic content. I actually like to call it epic shiz, as you put it once, Pat.
Yeah.
And
family show.
Exactly. But I think you and I are very much aligned on this. And because I know that you put out really, really deep content, I try to give away essentially everything I know. I don't hold back. I don't worry about, if I give everything away, I'm not going to have anything to sell, because I know that if I give away everything I know, that just reinforces my value. And some people are going to want the extra hand-holding. They're going to want the extra attention. They're going to want the customization of that knowledge for their own benefit. And that's where you can create products and services around something that you've essentially given away all of, but you're just customizing it and taking it to that next level.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that's what I love about your site and what you do. I mean, it very much aligns with what I do. That content-based traffic. When you hear about traffic experts, usually we hear about people who are like, they're all about SEO, they're all about search engine optimization, or they're all about social media, and these really kind of almost gamey, trying to play Google's game, kind of strategic types of things. But really, what I love about your site, it's really about the content, and that's what's most important, really, because that's what people are going to read when people get to your site. The content part of it, I mean, it's huge, because content is your traffic generator, but it's also what is engaging, and it's also what gets people to understand who you are as a person. You can be ranking number 1 in Google because you have the best SEO optimized website, but if your content isn't up to par, it's not going to matter at all. And I love what you said about giving away everything for free and not worrying about it, because that's exactly what has worked for me time and time again. I mean, that's my business model. Going back to when I first started, I had greenexamacademy.com. I was giving away all this information for free because I still had my job and I wasn't monetizing it. So when I decided to write an ebook, or actually when someone recommended that I write an ebook, I was a little bit worried. I wasn't experienced in this realm, so I was worried because I had already given away all the content that I was going to put in that ebook. But because I created an ebook that was organized and it displayed the information in a way that was even more consumable than just going in on a website where that same information was free, that ebook took off. I've sold over 10,000 copies. Not one person has complained that they could have gotten that information for free. And because I helped them out, they're happy to pay me back with the purchase and forward my name to all their coworkers and friends. And going back to smartpassiveincome.com, a lot of I did a series called the Niche Site Tool, where I was challenged to build a niche site from scratch. We revealed everything from the domain name to the keyword selection process to how I build backlinks and everything. And, people can just go in there and copy that process themselves. It's there for free, and people are doing that. But I was still able to create a course out of that particular, the niche site part of making money online. So we had over 2 rounds, we've had 50 people each pay $799 I mean, you could do the math there, but those are people, like you said, who really wanted that hand-holding, who wanted that one-on-one group setting to really understand what was going on. And there are people who will want that and who are happy to pay for that because they need that. Not everyone, but it's a win-win for everybody in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about creating epic content, and definitely one of the ways to do that is just to fill as much value as you possibly can within a post. But there are also some other aspects of epic content that I think are sort of technical. Like, for example, headlines. People talk about the importance of headlines, especially in a world where most often when you're online, you just see a little snippet on Facebook or on Twitter or something, and you have to decide whether or not you're going to click on something based on one sentence, and that's usually the headline.
Mm-hmm.
So headlines are important, and also sort of the format and the structure of the content. If you just sort of spit out all of your text kind of in one big blob, it's not necessarily going to get the traction and attention that it needs, because you have to break things down and make it digestible for people. And one of the things that works best for me for creating epic content, instead of sitting down and just trying to create it out of thin air, is actually to go and examine other blogs and look, like go to Smart Passive Income and look and see which of your posts have done the best. Go and look at Man vs. Debt, a friend of ours, Adam Baker, his site, see what is done best. And time and time again, I have been able to look at posts and sort of examine the structure of them, the headline, the way it's laid out, the content, the sentiment, all this sort of stuff, and then modify that for my own needs. And I'm not talking about copying content here. Absolutely none of the content is copied, but the format and the way the post was put together, I borrow that. And just for example, Adam Baker had a post about, I think it was 30 things that you could do to change your financial life forever. And that post did really well. And I looked at that and I said, wow, that's a really interesting format. So I borrowed that and I created a post on my site, which you actually shared.
21.
21 actions you can do today to set your blog up for massive success.
I love that post. I swear. I mean, that's why I featured it in one blog post and linked to it. I loved that post. So that's really cool that you actually borrowed that format from Adam. So
yeah, and I borrowed the format, and it's like you don't have to be that inventive. A lot of times you have to take what's already been done, modify it, and use it for your own purposes. And that post that I wrote was retweeted, I think, like 570 times, and it was liked on Facebook like 400 times. And it all started with identifying something that had already worked instead of trying to reinvent the wheel.
Did his post include the kind of how much time it would take to do each of those things?
Yep. He included.
That's the part I loved about yours.
Exactly. And so I mentioned Baker in that post. I gave him credit, and I actually even wrote him before I used it and said, "Hey man, I'm thinking about ripping off your idea. I hope you don't mind." And he was absolutely fine with it. And I ran with it. And of course, you don't necessarily need permission if you're just going to borrow something, but I always like to give credit because I think people appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, what works best as far as epic stuff and really, the content that gets shared over and over again on Facebook and Twitter is, and it's going to be different for everybody in every niche. You're going to want to experiment. And that's the beauty of this is if you don't get it right the first time, you can keep trying, keep experimenting, keep learning from other blogs and using other people's examples. But for me, what works best is really getting detailed into the technical aspects of things that should be easy but are not. For example, backlinking. I mean, my backlinking post, it's called The Backlinking Strategy That Works. I actually want to credit, again, Joseph Archibald for outlining this strategy, but he was kind enough to let me feature it on my site and share it with everybody. And I try to give him as much credit as possible because, again, credit should be given to where it's due. But that post was commented on. I think it's up to 735 comments. And that post is basically, it has a lot of infographics, which not a lot of people do, so that was another way for me to stand out. It has 3 videos which outline specific parts of the specific strategy, which no one gets detailed in. That post actually took me 12 hours to create.
Yep.
And it was totally worth it because As many of you know, I have affiliate links for some of the certain products that I use in there. I don't force anything on them. I just show them the ones that I've been using, and that helps with my income report every month, of course. So I'm very thankful for that. So I mean, it does take a lot of work, and one thing I want to mention is that it doesn't necessarily epic content and creating really shareable stuff doesn't necessarily mean you have to write for 12 hours. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to write posts that are 2,500 words in length, right?
Absolutely. Epicness isn't in length. It's about the value that you deliver. And if that value takes 400 words to deliver, that's great. If it happens to take 4,000 words to deliver, which it often does, then that's great as well. And I do notice a correlation between often the amount of time that I put into a post and the level of epicness. The things that you sit down and get into and realize that it's going to take 12 hours or sometimes even 2 days to create one single post, that almost always pays off. I don't think I've ever written a post that took me 2 days that didn't really, bring new visitors or drive a deeper level of engagement with my audience.
Okay, so here's a question. Let's say you have a blog, it's fairly new, you don't really have that many Twitter followers or not that many subscribers, and you spend 8 hours writing what you feel is a really, really, really good post. How do you get that out there?
It's a great question. So, the fact is, like, if Pat, if you wrote a really epic post and published it on your blog, and someone with a brand new blog wrote the exact same epic post, the fact is that you're just going to get more traction than that other person would.
Yeah, I have a head start. That's
right. You have a head start, but at the same time, epic content does get noticed, and just from one single tweet, if it's important enough and delivers enough value, then it will actually get picked up. And I've seen new bloggers, if they write content that is of great enough value and has a really good headline, I've actually seen relatively new bloggers just have a post that really blows up and gets spread all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But to jumpstart things, what I encourage people to do is to start forming a network of other bloggers that are either writing on the same topic or maybe in slightly different spaces, but sort of at the same place in their blogging. And I really, really encourage people to reach out and start building this network, either through email or by trying to talk to people on Skype, by mentioning people within your posts, by commenting on other people's posts, and just making sure that people are aware of who you are. Because, once you create friendships with people, I consider you a friend, Pat. I have like many dozens of friends in the blogosphere, and I want all of you to succeed so badly. If you think about, what a true friend is, a true friend wants you to succeed. And so the more friends you can create within the blogosphere, the more people you're going to have out there rooting for you. And so when you write something, when you write your best content, those friends that you have, that you've spent time making, will actually help you spread the word. And it doesn't, it's not about going out and saying, hey, I'd love you to tweet this. In fact, most of the people I know don't actually do that. They just make friends genuinely, try to find things that you have common ground on, beliefs that you have that are the same, form friendships, and then that promotion just happens naturally because of those friendships.
Yeah, and it's really about just first getting on those people's radars. And there's a number of different ways to do that. I think I've talked about several of them before. I mean, it's not necessarily something it's forced, but it's just something that happens naturally. So commenting on another person's blog, leaving some high-value comments. I mean, there's a lot of people on my blog who I became friends with just because I've noticed them leaving really, really good comments on my site. I mean, I featured a couple of them to land a guest posting spot on the Smart Passive Income blog. So that reminds me of another technique. I mean, guest posting is getting mixed reviews now. It used to be super awesome, and now not as effective, some might say. But I think if you have epic content, if you're a brand new blogger, if you share it with someone who might have an audience already and they love it, that's a great way to share that information to an audience that you might not have already, which can then jumpstart your own blog.
Yep, absolutely. And people, the people who approach me to write guest posts for ThinkTraff, definitely the ones who you can tell just pull out all the stops and they write that sort of epic level of content. They're not just trying to check off the box. So I got a guest post at so-and-so's blog. They know that to really have the benefit they want, they have to write something epic so that it draws a ton of attention and people start wondering, oh, who is this person who wrote this post that got so many retweets, and then they click through, and that's how you make guest posting effective. And I think the reason that it hasn't been effective for so many people is that they're just sort of trying to do as little work as possible, but still get their name out there on some other bigger blog.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, us as the owners of blogs that people want to guest post on, we know when we see great content. And at least for me, and I'm pretty sure it is for you, when I see that, I'd be happy to share that with people, because it's not just about leaving a link back to their site, but it's helping the people out who read my blog.
Yeah, I mean, your number one goal is to deliver value to your readers, and the only way you're going to run a guest post from someone is if it delivers that level of value that you're used to delivering.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've touched on a lot of great kind of traffic generation ideas, different than what you would normally hear. And again, this is why I love talking to you, Corbett. Now, let's jump over from traffic to engagement. You're getting traffic, and let's not even say traffic anymore. It's not traffic, but it's people. This is really about the people that come to your site.
Yep.
And I say that because now we're talking about engagement, actually connecting with that people. They're not just numbers, or I got 1,000 visitors today. These are people who are taking the time to visit our site. How can we connect with them? How do we do that?
Yeah, so engagement, the typical ways that you would measure engagement on a site would be the amount of time that someone spends on your site. Pat, you have one of the highest average time spent on site that I've ever heard of. I think people spend more than 7 minutes on your site, which is amazing. You can also measure it by the number of comments that people leave, the number of times they share your content with other people, the amount of email that you get from your readers who are reaching out to say thank you or to ask for help with something.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are different levels of engagement or different measurements of engagement. I think that the classic measure of engagement is probably comments if we're talking about a blog.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people, I think, in the beginning write posts and it seems like they're just writing for no one. They might see some traffic coming to their site, but they just get very few comments.
Yeah.
So the way that I like to drive engagement is to be very pointed about asking for comments about things. And I think this is a simple tactic that a lot of people overlook. You can't just write a post that defines everything and lays it on the table and then expect people to comment, because maybe you covered all there was to cover, or maybe your opinion seems so definitive that people are afraid to respond to it. So I like to leave a little bit of wiggle room in my posts. Ask people for their opinions, ask people to share examples of things, ask people to contribute in some way to create more value than the post itself. Sometimes the value in a post is actually in the comments if you go and read some of the comments. So I just like to be very specific and actually ask people to do things at the end of every post. And I think you do the same thing.
Yeah, I totally do that. I try to engage my community as much as possible. I even write posts specifically asking for people's opinions and comments. And a lot of people actually have different opinions about comments. Some people might think that they're not important because, say, for example, let's take my site, for example. I get 6,000 unique visitors a day, for example. And on a post, I'll get maybe 50 to 100 comments. Now, percentage-wise, that's not very many people, especially because, that's not just 50 comments in a day. That's 50 comments over a span of a week, for example. And only 50 comments from 6,000 visitors a day for a week isn't that much. But so some people think it might not be that important. But I feel it's hugely important, even just to get a little bit of engagement from the people who are more outspoken. I mean, there will always be people who read and never engage or comment, and that's fine. Some of those readers are the ones who, the silent readers who will easily click the retweet button or click like or something or buy something in the future. I mean, as far as comments are concerned, even a little bit of interaction is important, I think, which is why I think every post should be ended in a way that kind of draws people's attention into the comment field because of the social proof aspect. If the thing is, like, if you see a post and there are 0 comments, immediately that big fat 0 there just shows people, maybe it's not something interesting. And if there's even 1 or 2 comments, on it. It just says that I don't know. I mean, do you get what I'm trying to say? I'm like that.
Absolutely. I think it's especially with blogging because comments are so integral to blogs. I think there are some people who turn comments off, and you were kind enough to participate in a debate about that maybe 6 months ago, which was awesome, and that was
a lot of fun.
That was another one of my most popular posts. But if you think about how integral comments are to blogs, people use that as a way to judge blogs. You know, when they come to your site, they're looking for evidence that there are a crowd of people who are doing that because everybody feels more comfortable going to a crowd. They assume that the crowd knows something about the value of the place that they are. It's just like a restaurant, right? If you go to a restaurant and no one's there, you're not likely to stick around. But if there's a line out the door, then you think the food's great. So same thing with blogs. And that's why engagement is so important, because it's not just about, engaging people so that eventually they'll do something for you. It's engaging people so that the other folks that come by will see evidence that there's something worth sticking around for.
Yes. Thank you for wording that in the exact same way that I wanted to.
Right.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. So, on top of that, on top of just getting comments, while you're doing that, you can actually build a community on your site and actually have, as they say in this world, a tribe, which is huge. I mean, I have people that when I write a post, they just immediately tweet it out. They immediately like it. They immediately comment and add to that social proof aspect that we were just talking about. They're quick to respond to other people's comments for me. It's just amazing how, and I think I have one of the best communities, best and most engaging communities. Like it's just amazing. Like I really feel like my readers are my friends and family, even just because I feel like I've gotten to know them because they keep commenting, they keep coming back. I get to know their personality. I go on over to their blogs and see what they're up to. And sometimes if I find an interesting post, I'll put it in a roundup post that I put up, linking to other sites. It's just a really kind of organic kind of world that should be built upon relationships and creating communities.
Yeah, and engagement doesn't happen just on the blog either, or just on your website. If you and I were talking actually just before we started recording this call about a post that you wrote recently about all of the email that you get and then I get and so on. And, there's a correlation. If you look out there at the people who are really successful, like the Seth Godins of the world and the Chris Gillibos of the world, there's a correlation between them and the people who respond the fastest to the most people. So, for example, Chris Gillibo was in town here in San Francisco, and he asked me to say a couple of words to his audience for his book signing tour that he was on. And there were 100 and something people there. And I asked the crowd, I said, how many of you have received a personal direct response from Chris, either over email or on Twitter or somewhere, where he actually wrote to you directly? And 90+% of people in the audience raised their hand.
Wow.
So why do you think those people came out? Chris was able to go to all 50 states and all 13 territories in Canada on his book tour and draw crowds of between 20 and 200 people in all of these cities around the country. And why is that? Why was he able to do that? It's because he took the time to engage with his audience on a really deep level, even though it took a ton of time, even though, but now he's sitting on this massively successful site, and people love what he does, and they're willing to do all kinds of things for him because of his engagement.
Yeah, I mean, all that time spent is an investment, really. And another prime example I can think of is Gary Vaynerchuk. Yep. I mean, I've talked to him, and he goes out there. He actually looks for people to talk to. Because he knows how important that is. He goes into Amazon, looks at the people who've rated 1 or 2 out of 5 stars on his books, contacts them, asks them to get on the phone with him. I mean, who does that? Right. But when I saw that, it made me really love him, and that's why I do these types of things, where I will respond to every email or try to, and I feel bad if I don't. We were just talking about this before, and a lot of people, after I wrote that post about how many emails I get, among other things that are that are. A lot of people were suggesting, get a VA to read those for you first, or get rid of your contact form. Get rid of contacting you altogether. It's not worth it. One-on-one engagement is stupid. And I'm sorry, I have to disagree. And I know it sounds weird coming from someone who is all about passive income, because passive income is being smart about utilizing your time and using things such as VAs and different services to maximize your efforts with little amounts of time. But this one thing, as far as engagement on my blog, and again, I have all these other passive income businesses that don't involve any engagement at all, just because they're niche sites or they're put on autopilot. But for my brand specifically, for Smart Passive Income Blog, I feel the need to engage with people, even one-on-one. I feel that's very important. Some of my most bestest fans who go out there and actually market for me and spread the word about me and what I do, which leads to more visitors, more sales, more conversions, are from the people who I've spoken to one-on-one on email.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier about making friends and how important that is. If you're just starting out, the first email you get from someone, you should look at that as a golden opportunity and a milestone in your business, and you should be as genuine and clear about your purpose with that person as possible, and convert that email, whoever emailed you, into a lifelong fan if you can. Just deliver all the value possible. And think about it this way: you right now, maybe you're getting one email a week from people, so spend a lot of time on that individual person now while you have that time to spend, because eventually when you get to be like Pat, you'll have maybe 30 seconds to spend on each email, and you start to feel, like you said, sort of badly about that.
Absolutely. Okay, so moving on to our final part, the final pillar of really crushing it online. We got the traffic, we got the engagement. Now it's about conversion. So we have a community, or you have people coming onto your site who really trust you and understand you, and we want them to take action. How do we do that? Do we just say, hey, buy my product, or click on this link? What's the best way to really get conversions going?
So, conversion to me is just like you said, it's getting people to take action, and it's not necessarily getting people to buy your product. There are all kinds of actions that you might want people to take. You might want them to, for example, like your Facebook page,
subscribe,
or leave a comment, or subscribe, or whatever it is. And the best way, actually, when you get to the point of wanting to sell a product or service, there's a whole lot of mechanics that go into that, learning how to market something well. And most of it's based around being honest and really having your visitors' values in mind, and making sure that you're trying to deliver as much value as possible. But there are also some sort of technical mechanics in terms of your call to action. How do you ask someone to do something and get them to respond? And the best practice is to start focusing on smaller actions that you want people to take. So in the beginning, before you have a product or service to sell, I like to encourage people to try to get people to take action on other smaller things, like liking your Facebook page or leaving a comment, and just getting used to that, sort of explaining why this might be beneficial to someone, explaining why you would like them to take that action, and then asking them to do so. And in some cases, if you've really engaged with people and really delivered a lot of value, then sometimes they'll want to give back just because of all that you've done. And so merely asking for something can be a big help. But on the other hand, you always want to have some reason for people to do something. So for example, let's say you have a Facebook fan page, which you have, Pat, and you have a whole lot of people over there, and I'm building one as well. And you want people to like that page, and you want to ask them to do that from within a blog post, which is probably a good idea. But you need to give them a reason to do that. Not just, hey, if you like this, go click on that button over there. But why should they do it? What's in it for your reader? And with a Facebook fan page, a lot of times what you can do is, give people an alternative way to reach you. You can provide alternative content, deeper or, quicker content, maybe that you provide on a more regular basis, things that they can't necessarily get from the blog. But the point is, you're focusing on, from your visitor's point of view, what's in it for them and
Yep.
why would they want to take that action.
That's the big question, really what's in it for them. But another thing I want to point out, just to make sure we don't skip over, is just simply asking people to take action. A lot of people put up a subscriber area on their blog, or they have an RSS feed button, and they don't tell people what to do. It's very, very important to just simply ask people or point people in the right direction as far as what you want them to do. You've engaged them. They're going to listen to you. So don't be afraid to ask. I mean, there's different levels of asking to a point where you can be a jerk about it, which is what you don't want to do. Simply, there's so much power. So it's very important. And I really like what you said about taking small actions, a number of small actions first. It kind of reminds me of a launch sequence to a product, getting people to first spend time with you watching videos or reading your emails to eventually get to a point where they can then where you can then convert them and take a big action at the end of all that, because you've kind of I don't want to say train them, but it sort of is like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is, I when we talk about conversions, I always like to bring up the concept of trust as well, because if you're going to be trying to build a business around, your online presence, really the only thing that you have with your readers is your reputation. And your reputation is built over time by delivering value to those people. And you can easily destroy that reputation by getting greedy or money hungry and just asking people to do things just because you want to make a buck. So if you want to maintain that trust, and really that's the key to building a long-term sustainable business, then you just, like we said earlier, you have to keep your visitors' value in mind. You got to make sure that if you're asking them to do something, it's because you legitimately think that if they do that thing, they're going to receive more value than they spend on that thing to do so.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, what's in it for them? Make sure they're getting exactly what they pay for and more. You got to make sure you over deliver on everything. Another thing I want to go into is you talked about trust and how important that is, but also when it comes to conversions, especially with products and especially even more with affiliate sales, if you're trying to convert people into an affiliate product or going through one of your affiliate links, for example, to order a product that you get a commission on, is security. What I mean by that is really making people feel comfortable with the action that they're about to take. A lot of people don't just give out their email address. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make them feel like, and this goes back to engagement a little bit with just simply trusting you first. But also when it comes to a product, for example, my best affiliate products are the products that I show people exactly what it looks like inside. For example, Market Samurai. I have this keyword research webinar, and I keep bringing this up again. I brought it up in the last episode with Chris at keywordresearchwebinar.com. It's this webinar where I go over keyword research and I show people exactly what this product called Market Samurai looks like inside. And the thing is, people aren't going to invest, and this isn't a cheap product either. It's $97 if you get the free trial, and $97 within the first 5 days or something. That's not a small amount of money. It's a significant amount of money that people aren't just going to waste. They want to know what that money is being spent on, and they want to make sure that what they're buying is worth it. So the best thing you can do is show them exactly what they're going to get. And I talked about this in the last session too with Chris, becoming a sales representative for that particular product. If it's your own, obviously that's your product, but if it's for an affiliate product, really trying to become a sales rep, someone who knows exactly everything about that product. So if anyone comes to you and has any questions, you're quick to answer. It just shows how much more you believe in that product, and also that there's someone to go to in case they have an issue with it that they trust already.
Yep. And that's one of the things that I've learned from you, Pat, is that if you provide your honest account, your story about the interaction with something, I constantly watch you learn how to do something, use a product or a service that helps you do that thing that you wanted to accomplish, and then just tell people about your experience with it. And if they connect with that experience, they see that you legitimately use that product and it really helped you and that you liked it, then they're likely to use the same thing, just like a friend recommending something that they've tried.
Yeah, exactly. And even talking about the niche site coaching course that I did, I showed people exactly the process that I did. I offered the course to handhold them through that process as well, and they conversion rates were through the roof. I mean, we had we were only taking 30 students this last time because obviously it's a little more one-on-one, so I can't just open it up to everybody. But we had I think it was over 150 people apply for a $799 product.
Wow.
For information that they could get for free.
Yep.
I mean, just providing value and being there as a resource and being a trusted advisor because of that engagement, and that's how really you get people to convert and take action.
Well, and it's also about selling things based on the value, not on the time that you put into it or something like that. So, for example, this course that you mentioned, it's $799, but the end goal is to create a niche site or a series of niche sites. Mm-hmm. And like, for example, your niche site, the security guard training site, it made over $1,000 last month, right?
Yeah, it's up to over $1,000 this month as well.
Right. So $799 could earn you the ability to create these sites that earn passively $1,000 a month, and you could build many of those. Yeah. So, it's about selling things based on value, and that the people who actually take action within that course are going to achieve those results, and it's really up to them to take that action and put the effort in.
It is, and that's exactly what's happening. The people who are taking action are seeing the results. We actually just had someone who is no longer working a day job because of what we've taught them. It's amazing.
Wow, and how good does that feel, right?
Dude,
you did that.
We're changing lives. It's amazing, and hopefully we can. Hopefully that's sort of what we're doing here today by being on the podcast and sharing everything as well. Yeah, I mean, it feels amazing. I mean, the course, it was probably one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done, and obviously it's not passive. But I'm happy to trade that time to help people out in that way, and it's so nice to see me teach something, have people actually do it, and then send me an email later saying this is the best thing that's ever happened. It's just amazing, and I feel very fortunate to be in a place where I can do that. And in this course, we say, hey, spread the knowledge, so teach other people too. So we're really trying to help people, and that's really what's most important. And that's the whole value thing, really making sure people get what they pay for and more, and being confident behind your sales price and all that stuff. It all plays a role in there. So yeah, I mean, we've touched on a lot of things today. Traffic, some very unique traffic strategies that shouldn't be unique, really, because the whole content-driven aspect of it has been really what's most successful for me and for you as well. Engagement, building the community, getting your readers to stick around, and how to do that. Conversions, getting people to take action based on that trust that they have with you, turning visitors into sales. It's just amazing, and I just want to end here by mentioning a course that you have coming up. We've actually talked about it on the blog before. You limited it to a certain number of people, and now you're opening it up again because it did so well the first time around. Now, I would like you just to I know the readers wouldn't mind, the listeners wouldn't mind, just 3 or 4 minutes really quick about what this is about. And this course is called Traffic School, which I think is the perfect name. I mean, I love that. I mean, this is the traffic school that you want to go to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so thanks for mentioning it last time as well. Traffic School is essentially the sum total of everything that I have worked towards over the past 4 or 5 years. I did a startup in Silicon Valley before launching this new blog, ThinkTraff, and I also have the other blog that you mentioned at CorbettBarr.com. And from everything that I've learned there, I created this thing known as the Thriving Audience Framework, which is a series of steps that you can follow to build an audience for your website or blog. And it's really based around all the fundamentals that you and I talked about already, which are the foundation, the content, and the promotion, and how to build all of those things in a way that will lead to a sustainable audience, not just something that's a flash in the pan. Mm-hmm. And in addition, instead of just providing my knowledge and my lessons, I actually went out, I reached out and used all of my social capital and all the people that I've met online over the past couple of years and gathered 17 of the brightest minds online as special guest instructors within Traffic School. We're talking about people like Leo Babauta, Pat, you're in it.
I am.
Gary Vaynerchuk, Ramit Sethi, Danielle Laporte, Chris Ducker, who's been on your podcast before, and on, Adam Baker. And it goes on, and there are 17 different lessons taught by these special guest instructors. And they teach a different piece of the Thriving Audience Framework each. And then those are interspersed with lessons that I've created myself as well. So there are 26 total lessons within the course. It runs over a period of about 4 months. I actually lead people through the course in a guided fashion. So every week, I'll let you know what lessons you're supposed to do. There's homework for people to do. And there are a number of places where they can connect with the rest of the students in the course. And this is why the course has been limited in terms of the number of people that I can sign up. We actually had 100 spots the first time around, and it sold out within just 36 hours. This time we're going to open it up a little bit more because I've learned how to sort of manage that size, but we still want to keep it small enough that I can provide that sort of one-on-one help within the forums, within the comments, within some live sessions that we're going to do as well, and sort of lead people through that process and make sure that they have the opportunity to interact. So we have forums where they can connect. We have something known as the Alumni Network, which is a way for all of the students in the course to actually promote what they're working on. So, one of the things that's most difficult is getting the word out. Like you said, when you have a new blog, how do you get the word out? And with Traffic School, you actually have access to this promotion network where whenever you have something once a week, you can put the word out about your latest piece of content or the latest thing you're working on and ask people to retweet it or to like it on Facebook or to shed some light on what they're doing or to provide comments and that sort of thing. So it's not just education. It's also, I know that the real value is connecting with people, doing special projects with people, and making sure that you're being held accountable and actually moving through the process.
Yeah, and for you guys out there, I mean, Corbett is one of the most knowledgeable guys I know about this stuff and building online businesses, and he's also one of the nicest and most genuine people I know. So, which is why I don't usually promote things. I don't usually have people come on here and pitch things. Although Chris Ducker did quite amusingly the other when he was on, but this is for real here. So I encourage you to at least check out Traffic School. You can go through my affiliate link. Just being honest with you up front that I do get a commission if you do sign up with this course with Corbett, which I would be really excited about. And if you do, there's actually a bonus for you. So Corbett will contact you if you go through my link. You'll get a special webinar. This is just for SPI listeners and SPI readers only, where Corbett and I will get you on a webinar and we'll have just a massive Q&A session, and we'll cover all the different topics you want to know about to make sure that you fully understand what you're doing and how to take what you're doing now to the next level. So you can go through my link at smartpassiveincome.com/traffic school, no spaces or dashes, just smartpassiveincome.com/traffic school. It's an amazing group of people on there. Just some of the names you mentioned are huge. I mean, Leo Babauta he probably has the biggest blog in the world, right?
Yeah, he has probably the biggest single author blog in the world, and I'm lucky to consider him a friend, and he has a tremendous lesson in there. I also just wanted to mention some of the results we've gotten from the course. I have a few case studies of people who have gone through the course, and some people are attracting 5,000 or even 10,000 unique visitors a month after going through this course.
Wow.
Which is a pretty tremendous jumpstart, I think. And, that usually takes people a year or more to get to. So we're really giving people a jumpstart and putting them on the right course.
That's awesome. Again, smartpassiveincome.com/traffic school, Corbett Barr's course, which is called Traffic School. So thank you guys so much for letting us pitch that to you. Again, there's a free bonus webinar if you do end up signing up through my affiliate link. And again, Corbett, just wonderful content today. I think we've touched on a lot of things that aren't normally spoken about when it comes to building traffic and really crushing it with online business. So I want to thank you again for your just presence. I mean, being alive. I mean, you're contributing so much to this to the blogosphere and what you do. And I just want to thank you for that.
Thanks, Pat. It's always a pleasure, and I swear we could just talk all day, and I'd be happy doing that.
Dude, we could. I'm sure we could. Maybe we should. All right, well, we'll hang out again soon. We'll have you on the podcast again in the future. But again, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much.
All right, bye. All right, another fantastic session with Corbett Barr here on the podcast. Thank you so much for listening in. If you want to learn more from Corbett, you can find him at thinktraffic.net. I encourage you very much to go over there and check out his blog. And of course, we just talked about Traffic School, which if you have an existing site and you're just not seeing the traffic that you want to see, I encourage you to go and check that out as well. You can go through my affiliate link at smartpassiveincome.com/traffic school. And lastly, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day. I know time is valuable, and I just really appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen in on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything, all your support, everyone who's left reviews, downloaded the apps, left comments on my site, listened to the podcast. You all mean so much to me, and I will continue to provide content for you now and in the future so that I can help take your online business or blog to the next level. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Hey there, quick pause here because I have to tell you about a tool that completely transforms the podcasting workflow, Riverside. I get it. I used to juggle multiple platforms just to record one podcast episode. It was exhausting. Zoom for recording, Audacity for editing, and then a bunch of different apps just to create clips and social posts. I've tried other ones as well. They were okay, but they were clunky and super time-consuming. That's where Riverside has massively helped. I can do it all in one place, recording, editing, repurposing, one platform, one streamlined flow. I just log in, record with my guests no matter where they are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video all in one. And get this, even if your Wi-Fi glitches, Riverside records locally on your device so everything sounds and looks crystal clear. But here's my favorite feature, Riverside's AI editing tool. You can remove silences and filler words with just one click. Hours saved. With Magic Clips, Riverside also automatically finds the best moments and turns them into ready-to-post videos for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, all without the extra editing. So if you're looking to level up your production quality and simplify your workflow, go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. It's built by creators for creators, and I think you're going to love it. More people dream about building their own business and being their own boss rather than retiring early. But a majority of them never even take the first steps to register the business. Why? Because starting a business can feel overwhelming. With legal forms, paperwork, finances, it's a lot. And that's where Taylor Brands comes in. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal and business assets separate from day one. And from there, you can get access to everything you need to get off the ground, from legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, our listeners get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. Just head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.